Perfect. So welcome to AWS Solution Architecture Associate and day number 7. So this is the last day for your EC2 instance, and from tomorrow, probably we'll start with the new services. So now today what we will discuss, let me go through the content. And as you can see that I have mentioned that elastic IP address, VPC, subnet, routing table, internet gateway, EC2 instance with the customized VPC. Now, before starting these all topics, let me give you one suggestion. Suggestion means what? It is just an open advice. If you are interested, you can do by yourself, or if you're not interested, you can continue this one. As I told you earlier, the basic of networking is required: public IP address, private IP address, subnetting, and everything. Yes. So if you don't know the basics of networking, then it may be possible that somehow it is difficult for you to grasp only one service, that is EC2 instance. Apart from that, all the services are very easy, so no worry. Fine. And if anyone is interested to learn the CCNA routing and switching, you can let me know. Probably we'll start with this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, because my one slot is available over there, and my all the Monday to Friday slots are booked. From Monday my university will start, so I will be more busy. Perfect. So what is elastic IP address? Yes, so elastic IP address, what do you mean by elastic IP address? If I will say elastic IP address is like public IP address, then what will be your answer? What you will think if I will say elastic IP address is nothing but one kind of public IP address, then what you will think? Why we need a public IP address? Please, if there is any background noise from your side in backend, please be on mute. Yes. Let me ask to Prameen. What is public IP? Prameen? Yes, Prameen, public IP address. Why we need a public IP? We did this practical many times in front of you. Still, I am asking that why we need public IP address. Yes. Tell me one thing. When I allowed in last session, when I allowed Sunil to access my EC2 instance, how Sunil was able to access my EC2 instance? How it is possible?
He was able to
Excellent.
join. Yeah.
Because of the public IP address, correct? So public IP address means what? Public IP address means, here you can see in elastic IP address is a public IPv4 address which is reachable from the internet. If I will allow you to access to my EC2 instance, you need one thing, and that one thing is nothing but what? That one thing is nothing but the public IP address. If your instance does not have a public IPv4 address, you can associate an elastic IP address with your instance to enable the communication with the internet. In short, if you want to communicate with the internet, you need a public IP address, and that static public IP address is nothing but the elastic IP address to connect your instance from your local computer. AWS, this is important. AWS currently do not support the elastic IP address for what? For IPv6, but in IPv4 you can do. To utilize an elastic IP address, you must first create an account and then associate it with the network interface or an instance. When you associate an elastic IP address with an instance or its primary network interface, the instance public IPv4 address is released back into the Amazon's pools of public IPv4 address. You cannot use public IPv4 address again. That means if you have your own public IP address, you can use your own public IP address. But if you don't have your own public IP address, you can ask to Amazon to give you the public IP address. So this is just in theory. Don't worry, I will show you practical today. You can deassociate an elastic IP address from resources. That means you can associate, you can deassociate. Here, deassociated elastic IP address remains allocated to your account until you cannot release it explicitly. To ensure the efficient use of elastic IP address, AWS imposes small hourly charges if an elastic IP address is not associated with a running instance. Here, Amazon says that once you will purchase the public IP address, you have to pay. It doesn't matter you are using it or not. Or if it is associated with a stopped instance or an unattached network interface while your instance is running, you are not charged for one elastic IP address associated with the instance, but you are charged for any additional elastic IP address associated with the instance. An elastic IP address is for use in the specific region only. Just in theory part, don't worry. When you associate an elastic IP address with an instance that previously had a public IPv4 address, the public DNS, domain name server, host name of the instance, changes to match the elastic IP address. That means your elastic IP address must match with the DNS. That is nothing but the domain name. So in short, if you don't want to remember these two slides, theoretical slides, elastic IP address, simple public IP address, which is required whenever you want to connect with your EC2 instance publicly or from the internet. Done. Now this is important. Can anyone tell me what is VPC?
It's a virtual private cloud.
Means what?
So it is like how internet is there. So it is a cloud. So similarly, VPC is also a cloud, but that is not publicly available. So here also we will get all the flexibilities what a normal VPC or internet is having. So here also, like, we can create instance, so we can do a lot of stuff, but that is private to that particular VPC, not to public.
Okay, so perfect. Itna chalega. Now a virtual private cloud is a virtual network that closely resemble a traditional network that you operate in your own data center. Yes, with the benefits of using the scalable infrastructure of Amazon Web Service. A virtual private cloud is a virtual network dedicated to your AWS account. Sunil, yes?
Yes, right.
It is logically isolated from other virtual network in the AWS cloud. You can launch your AWS resources such as Amazon EC2 instance in your VPC. You can configure your VPC by modifying its IP address range, create subnet, and configure the routing table, network gateway, and security settings. Now tell me one thing. When we have created our first EC2 instance, at that time, it used which VPC?
Default VPC.
Default VPC. Yes, default VPC means what? Means whenever you will create the AWS account, in each and every region, there are some VPC. See, it's very simple. Correct, it's not complicated. Actually nothing is complicated. We people are making it complicated. See, if you are creating one EC2 instance or server, obviously it need all things. Correct, your EC2 instance need a public IP, private IP, DNS, and everything. So from where it will get this whole thing? So it will get everything from your VPC. Why? Because VPC is nothing but your one kind of virtual private cloud. By default, there is one VPC in which subnets are there, in which IP addresses are there, everything is there. But if you want to use your own, you can use it on your own also. So you can see over here, cloud computing. I'm in any region, let's say I'm in Mumbai region. Inside the Mumbai region, you can see there is one VPC. As I told you, in each and every region, there is one VPC. VPC have a subnet we will discuss. Now, inside it, you can see it mentioned two availability zone. This is very, very important. Availability zone A, availability zone B. So this is my data center 1, this is data center 2, this is subnet 1, this is subnets 2. So this is my EC2 instance 1, this is my EC2 instance 2. So if I want to create one EC2 instance, this instance will be part of this subnet will be part of this availability zone, and this availability is part of this VPC. So in VPC, it depends on the region. You may have one availability zone, or you may have a 2 availability zone, or you may have a 3 availability zone, or even the 5 availability zone. Availability zone means what? Means one kind of small data center in which you have a subnet. So logically, if you'll see, this is my AWS account. This is my region. Inside the region, there is a VPC. Inside the VPC, there is a subnet. Correct? This is the flow. AWS and region and VPC and subnet. Then, so when you create your own VPC, you must specify the range of IPv4 address for the VPC in the form of classless inter-domain routing. Now, this term, classless inter-domain routing, means what? Classless inter-domain routing means what?
So it is like an IP range which is allowed inside or configured in the VPC.
Okay, if I will say 10.0.0.0/8. Yes, if I will say 172.16.0.0/16, or if I will say 192.168.10.0/26. Now let me write down one more subnet, 10.0.0.0/11, 172.16.0.0/19, and 192.168.0.0/21, or let's say /28. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between this 3 and this 3? But I just need this information. If this is clear to you, you can do anything. No need to do anything like networking or nothing. Can you tell me what is this and this? What is the difference between this one and this one? Okay.
One is classful, the other
Ex-
class is classless.
Excellent. This is what I want. This is class full. This is class full. This is class full. Sorry, here if I say /24, this is class full. This is classless, classless, classless. Fine. So this is just in basics of CCNA. I will not go into depth, but here it says that whenever you will create your VPC, you have to mention the subnet. Now, when you will go in live environment, when you will start working with any company, at that time you will not ask to anyone, your neighbor, your senior, or your colleague, that which subnet I have to assign. I have to assign 10.0.0.0/16 or /17 or /7 or /8. You cannot ask. Why? Because you are a technical person. So if you are, see, only one thing, trust me, in this world there is not, there is no single training in which you will, if I'm talking about cloud, you will only get the cloud things. No. Even nowadays, if I will say, if you want to learn Python, in Python also there is a networking. In Python, when you will start creating your program, that particular tool is also using the IP address. So if you are thinking that you are running the cloud and I'm getting the networking fundamentals, of course, your cloud depends on the network and security. So at least you need basic of CCNA. So I advise to do it and learn it if you want to enjoy the cloud. Correct. So whenever you will create the VPC, you have to define the subnet. I will create VPC today. Don't worry. Now VPC configuration, whenever you want to configure the VPC, you can use the single subnet, VPC with a single public subnet, VPC with a public and private subnet. Public means if you want to access the internet. Private means if you want to communicate in your LAN. VPC with the public and private subnet and hardware VPN access. VPC with the private subnet only and hardware VPN access. So if you want to configure the VPN, you can configure the VPN in 4 ways, 4 types. There are 4 types of VPC configuration. Now here you can see VPC with a single public subnet. So here your instance run in a private isolated section of the AWS cloud with the direct access to the internet. Here you can see this is my internet. Now on the internet you may have your S3 data or DynamoDB data or SNS or SQS, simple notification service, simple queuing service, or whatever. And this is your public subnet and this is your VPC. Yes. So here what it says, that if you want to access anything from the internet, then of course your EC2 instance must have in public subnet. Correct. And it must be in /16 network with the /24 network. Public subnet instance use the elastic IP or public IPs to access the internet. Of course, if I take example of your mobile, correct, your watch, the watch nowadays, if you know about the smart watches, correct. Let me give you the best example. In Canada, there are 7 time zones. How many? There are 7 time zones. If I'm in Halifax, my time is let me show you. So how it automatically synchronize the time, that is important. You can see my time right now, it is 12:20. Correct. So here if I will go and if I will say, let me show you a time in Halifax. What is time in Halifax? 12:16 p.m. Let me show you time in Toronto. What is time? 11:17. Let me show you the time in Ottawa. 11:17. That means Ottawa and Toronto have the same time. But if I will say my time is 12:20. Correct. And USA is near to me. If I will say what is time in USA. 11:17. If I will say, what is the time in Texas? 10:17. Can you see? Hello. We all
Yes,
are near.
okay.
We all are near. If I want to go from here to Toronto in flight, it will take 1 hour or 2 hours. That's it. Still, we have a different time zone. Correct. So sometimes what happens? Sometimes, see how this time zone works. Time zone works based on the NTP protocol, 123 port number. Yes.
Yes.
Of course, simple.
NTP.
NTP, correct. So
Yes.
like before 2 months, what happens? I was like, when I wake up in the morning and when I show my mobile, time is different in my mobile. My university is already started. So I was thinking, why my university started? At that time, we come to know that in night, that someone changed the time in NTP server, and because of that, my mobile automatically synchronized with that time zone. Correct, because in India we have a same time, that is the Kolkata time zone. Correct, in India we have a one time only. Yes, you just have to set one time zone and that's it, and throughout the year you have to follow the same time zone. But in Canada, in a 1 year, many times the time will change. So here what I am saying, that key, whenever you want to configure your VPC or your public subnet or your private subnet or whatever, correct, it will automatically synchronize. So once you will say I'm with the public subnet, means if you want to access the internet, you need a public IP address. So similarly, in our watch, in our mobile, whenever it will synchronize the time, so it synchronize the time according to your NTP server, your network time protocol, which is configured by the network engineer of that particular branch. Yeah, so here you can see VPC, the public and private subnet. If you want to configure your VPC in private, you can use the private. If you want to use the public, you can use the public. And if through private, if you want to access the internet, you know very well we have to go with the netting process. We will discuss this one in last. Yeah, and here you can see, in addition to containing the public subnet, this configuration adds the private subnet whose instances are not addressable from the internet. Instance in the private subnet can be established outbound connection to the internet via the public subnet using the network address translation. Correct. Now, how many of you know about the net? How many of you know about the net? Yes. The people who did their CCNA, they know about the net. Other people
Yes,
don't know anything about the net, correct? So now this term you have to use over here. We have a separate lab for
yes,
the
that's
netting as
right.
well. Network address translation. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, we do. Is
And
a
this is the VPC with the public and private subnet and hardware VPN. Now, if I'm saying VPN means this one, virtual private network. Correct. So how you will come to know what is VPN now? If I'm saying VPN means VPN is a part of your security. Then, so nowadays in CCNA only there is some security. So VPN is part, nowadays the VPN is part of your CCNA routing and switching. So here you can see this configuration add an IPsec virtual private network connection between your Amazon VPC and your data center, effectively extending your data center to the cloud while also providing the direct access to the internet for public subnet instance in your Amazon VPC. That means if you are using the VPN services, one subnet is directly connected to the internet while the other subnet is connected to your corporate network via the IPsec VPN tunnel. Now, how many of you know what is this IPsec VPN tunnel? Yes, the people who did their security, they know about this IPsec VPN. Yes, because
yes, we do.
IPsec VPN belongs to security. Yes, correct. So that's why that's why I told you that if you know the basics of network and security, that will be good for you. You can also create your VPC with the private subnet only with hardware access VPN. So here I have given you the different example. You can use it, depends on your network requirement. Correct. So VPC contains how many things? VPC contains subnet, routing table, internet gateway, DSCP option set, elastic IP, endpoint, net gateway, peering connection, virtual private gateway, customer gateway. Correct. So when I'm saying one virtual private cloud contains these all things. Let me tell you, subnet means what? Means it is one kind of network from where your instance will get the IP address. Routing table means what? Routing table will route the packet. Whenever Sunil trying to access my EC2 instance, his request will come into my routing table. Routing table will forward the request towards my EC2 instance. Internet gateway, which is required to access the internet. to access the internet. If you want to access the internet, you need an internet gateway. DHCP option set, which is required to allocate the IP address to your PCs or EC2 instance. Elastic IPs, as I told you, this is nothing but one kind of public IP. Endpoint means where your end device is connected. Where your end device is connected. Net gateway, which is used to send the traffic from private to internet via netting process. Peering connection means communication between two different network. Virtual private gateway, VPG, it is like your VPN or VPC. Customer gateway means where your edge device is connected. Correct. When we will do the lab, few labs will do in associate, few labs we will do in professional. So depending on the lab, I will explain you whenever we suppose we are, if you are using the net gateway, I will explain you the net gateway at that time. But as of now, these are the components of your VPC. Subnet. Now the first component you can see subnet. So we will discuss about the subnet. What is subnet? Tell me one thing. What will happen if I don't have a subnet in my cloud?
We won't get any IP address. Like our instance won't get any IP.
If your instance will not get the IP, then what will happen? Nothing. Then you cannot access your EC2
Yes.
instance. Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
You can't.
You cannot. So of course, for connectivity and to assign the unique address to my device, I need a subnet, and from that subnet, my EC2 instance will get the IP address. So here I have mentioned that a subnet is a range of IP address in your VPC. You can launch AWS resources into a specific subnet. Use a public subnet or resources that must be connected towards the internet. Correct. Public subnet. But if a subnet traffic is isolated to an internet gateway, the subnet is known as the public subnet. If you want your instance in a public subnet to communicate with the internet over IPv4, it must have a public IPv4 address. Private subnet means what? If a subnet doesn't have a route to the internet gateway, then the subnet is private subnet. Whatever we are discussing, I will show you everything in the lab. Don't worry. I will tell you everything in the lab. Yes, it is very easy. I will just put the more theory over here. That's it. You can see these are the subnet. When you create a VPC, you must specify an IPv4 CADR block for the VPC. The allowed block size is between a 716 net mask. If I'm saying 716, or if I will say /16 net mask, if I will say /16 net mask, then I will get this IP address. Correct. And if I will say /28 net mask, here it is a /16. So here if I'll say /28 net mask means I will get 16 IP address. Now listen, in networking, in our routing and switching and security, if I will say that 10.0.0.0.0/30, how many IP address I will get? Usable IP, how many usable IP I will get?
2.
Excellent. 2.
2. Yes.
Now, if your answer is 2, you don't want to do the CCNA. That's it. Yes, your concept is clear. Why 2? Actually, how many IP address we are getting over here? 4, correct?
Yeah, 4. 1 is a broadcast.
Correct.
32 minus 30.
Broadcast, and last one is one is broadcast, and one is nothing but
network address and
one is nothing.
Network ID.
So this is my network ID and this is my broadcast. So in between, how many IP address we will get? 2. Yes,
2 usable.
2 usable IP address. So here you can
Yes.
see the first 4 IP address and the last IP address in each subnet CIDR blocks are not available for you to use and cannot be assigned to an instance. For an example, in a subnet with a CIDR block, if this one, the following 5 IP address are reserved. In Amazon, how many IP address are reserved?
5. First 5.
First 5. In network, how many IP address are reserved?
First and last 2.
First and last 2. So the interview question over here is that if we are saying that first 5, like the first 5 IP address are reserved, then what are that IP address? First, network address 10.0.0.0. Second, 10.0.0.1 reserved by the AWS for the VPC router. Third, reserved by AWS the IP address of the DNS server. Fourth, reserved by the AWS for future use. Fifth, 10.0.0.0.255 network broadcast address. AWS do not support the broadcast in a VPC. Therefore, AWS reserve this IP address. So can you see? This is we are reserving in our network also, correct? And this is we are reserving in our network also, correct? But whenever we talk about the cloud, can you see this one? One IP address is reserved for what?
VPC.
Router.
VPC router.
And this IP address is reserved for what?
DNS.
DNS.
And this IP address is reserved for what?
Future purpose.
For the future.
Always remember, no one will tell you this thing. Whenever you are saying subnet, the only thing which comes into your mind, that is how many IP addresses are reserved? 2. But whenever we are talking about the cloud, how many IP addresses are reserved? 5. 5. Don't forget. And this is the real and true things. This is real and true things. Correct? So you don't want to forget this one. Now routing table, as I told you, it is same routing table like we have a routing table in our network. Routing table contains the set of rules called the routes that are used to determine where traffic is directed. If I want to send the traffic from one path or second path or third path, how I will come to know. Each subnet in your VPC must be associated with the routing table, and the table control the routing for the subnet. A subnet can only be associated with one route table at a time, but you can associate multiple subnets with the same routing table. That means, Sunil, if I have a one routing table, I can associate multiple subnet. Yes.
Yes.
Correct. Trust me, guys. Sunil, you are pure developer. Yes.
Right.
Correct. See, still I am telling you, if you want a satisfaction, if you want to use the cloud freely means साला कोई नाइट में भी आके पूछे ना कि इसमें इश्यू आ रहा है तो हमारे से सोल्व होना चाहिए. Yes.
Right.
Correct. So see what I'm saying. If you want to be a master in the cloud, correct. See, as I told you, in this world, not a single service which is not dependent on other services. So here, if I'm saying cloud, if I'm saying cloud over here means I'm saying cloud means what? Means you need 5% networking, you need 5% security, you need 5% Python, you need 5% Linux, at least. Correct. So what people will do, people will think, oh yeah, I don't want to learn the networking, I don't want to learn the security, I don't want to learn the Python, I don't want to learn the Linux. Okay, you don't want to learn, leave it. Okay, now people will say, I want to become the network engineer. Okay, so nowadays if you want to become the network engineer, you have to learn the network 80%, you have to learn the security 5%, you have to learn the Python 5%, you have to learn the Linux 5%. Again, you are on the same track. Okay, you don't want to do the networking, leave it. Now people are saying that I want to learn the security. Okay, you want to learn the security, again network 50%, again security 40%. Again, there is nowadays in the new syllabus there is a automation, that means there is a Python. Correct. So if you are learning the security, again you have to learn these all things. Okay, you don't want these all things, you want to be a coder, pure hard coder. Okay, coder means you want to be a developer. Okay, when you will set up your PHP, HTML, Java, or Python or anything, there you have to assign the IP address. There you have to use the SSL certificate and everything for your website. Correct. Now you want to do the monitoring as well. Now you want to do the debug and this all things. Here also you want to Linux. So here what I am saying, if you're talking about this service or this service or this service or this service or this service, everywhere you have to connect the all dots together. Correct. If you are thinking that I don't want to learn this all things and I need only one service which is limited, that is impossible, not possible. Nowadays routing table is there everywhere. Correct. And that's why here we have mentioned that your VPC automatically come with the main routing table that you can modify, you can create additional custom routes table for your VPC. Each subnet must be associated with the routing table which control the routing for the subnet. If you don't explicitly associate a subnet with a particular routing table, the subnet is implicitly associated with the main routing table. So you can see this is my router in backend. This is subnet 1, subnet 2. This is the routing table of A. This is routing table of B. Here you can see this is again the same topology but with a different routing table. So you cannot delete the main routing table. Main routing table is always there. You cannot delete it, but you can replace the main routing table with the custom table that you have created. So that this table is the default table. Each new subnet is associated with it. If you will not create the routing table, everything will be by default associated with your main routing table. And you can see in backend they have mentioned everything. This is subnet, and this is your routing. Internet gateway. What is internet gateway? Its name says internet plus gateway. Yes, if you want to access the internet, you need some gateway, and that is nothing but the internet gateway. Yes, and internet gateway is a horizontally scaled, redundant, and highly available VPC component that allow communication between your VPC and internet. In short, if I want to access anything from my VPC, if I want to access Facebook, or if I want to send a mail, or if I want to download something, I need an internet gateway. So default VPC is already attached with an internet gateway. If you create a new VPC, then you must attach the internet gateway in order to access the internet. Ensure that your subnet routing table points towards the internet gateway. So these are the VPC with the public subnet. Here you can see we have an internet gateway. This is the routing. This is the entire topology. You can see this is your AWS, this is your VPC, this is your EC2 instance, this is your routing table, this is your internet gateway, and finally you can access the internet. Yes, this is another topology. This is another topology, correct? And EC2 instance with the customized VPC. Then, so let me do one thing. Whatever we have discussed in the theory, this time we will create the EC2 instance, but we will not use anything default. Now, if you have not got anything in the theory part, leave it. No worry, not required, correct? Now, everywhere, step by step, you have to answer my question, correct? Here, some basics of networking fundamental will be tested. You can see how many instances we have. Zero.
Now 0.
Elastic IP, everything is 0 except security group. Yes.
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 Okay, now listen, let me go towards the VPC and let me open the VPC console. So this is my VPC console. Yes. This is my VPC dashboard. Now, when I open my VPC dashboard here, you can see how many VPCs are there?
1.
3 subnet, 1 routing table, 1 internet gateway, 1 DSCP option set, 1 security group, 1 ACL. That's it. Yes. Now, whatever
Yes,
you are
sir.
able to see over here, these are the default. What is this?
Yes. Okay.
These are the default. Now, this
Okay.
time I want to create one EC2 instance. I am going to create one EC2 instance. Let me say 2016, correct? And this one. Now, you know, we have to select the T2.micro. So select it. Now, this time I don't want to use this default one. Are you able to see? I don't want to use the default VPC. Instead of this default VPC, I want to create the new VPC.
VPC. Okay.
So you can see this is the default VPC which is available and which network they have used 172.31.0.0/16. Yes.
Yes, sir.
And this VPC, default VPC, is also there in the routing table. Yes. This is the default routing table. How I will come to know that it is there in the routing table? When you will go and when you will see, click on the routes, you can see it is associated over here. Yes.
Yes.
And apart from that, one more thing is associated over here. Can you see which one? Look at the routing table.
Internet gateway.
Internet gateway with which kind of route?
0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
0, 0, 0
like
is what?
outside, yeah.
0, 0 is
The
what?
default route.
Default route.
Default route.
0,
Open
0
to all.
is open to all, means default route, correct?
Yes.
Very simple. Yes.
Unknown
Now,
destination.
unknown destination. Now here you can see this is root subnet associated is nothing, edge association nothing. We don't have anything over here. Internet gateway, there is one default internet gateway. Yes. Yes, your internet gateway is always attached with the VPC. And you can see there is anything in elastic IP?
No.
No. Now
Nothing.
listen to me carefully. Here
Okay.
In step number 3, we don't want to use the default VPC. So of course, I want to create VPC. Yes.
Okay.
So I will go and I will say my VPC. What I will say?
My VPC.
My VPC. Now IPv4 CIDR block, IPv4 CIDR manual input, and here IPv4 CIDR block, I will say my IP address, means I will say 192.168.100.0/24. Yes. Yes, I can use this IP. Yes or no? This is private IP. Yes.
Can use it.
Yes.
It is.
Yes. So
It is
no
a private.
IPv, yeah, no IPv6. We are not using IPv6. So this is my this one, and let me say create the VPC. Now here we have created one VPC. Yes. VPC ID state is available, desire IPv4 CIDR block, everything is fine. And how many IP address I will get in this VPC? Can anyone tell me?
You have 254, 256.
16.
How many IP address I will get in this CIDR
Yeah,
block?
256. 256.
Yeah,
256.
256 means if you remove this all the 5 result from the Amazon, you will get near about 250 or 251. Yes.
251.
Yes.
That
251.
so as of now we have created one VPC. So when I will go and when I will say refresh, I will get one option to choose my VPC. Yes.
Okay.
That just we have created. Yes or no?
Yes.
It comes automatically. Okay.
It comes automatically. Now when I attach my VPC here, it is giving me an error. A subnet is required to launch a VPC. Yes.
Okay.
What is required? What it is asking? Even I don't know what is the requirement, but here it is giving me the message that something is required. What is required?
Subnet.
Subnet.
IP address. The subnet.
Subnet.
Yes.
So how many subnets we have? 3 subnets which are default. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
of
default,
course.
yes.
These are the default subnet. So I don't want to use the default subnet.
Yes.
I will create my own subnet. Yes.
Subnet. Okay.
So let me say create the subnet, and now this subnet is part of which VPC? Of course, my VPC. Yes.
That one. Yes.
That one, my VPC which you have created. So when I selected my VPC, this IPv4 CIDR block will automatically come. Why? Because we have assigned this CIDR block to my VPC. Yes. Now here
Okay.
I will give the name my subnet 1. Yes. And now it is part of which availability zone. That means you have to put this subnet in which data center, A, B, or C. Let me say I want to put in A. You can select anyone. Yes. And here it says that type the one subnet. So I will say 192.168.100.0/24. It is the default one. Yes.
Yes.
That you can use the same for your VPC and subnet. I will say create the subnet. We have created my subnet. Yes.
Okay.
So when you will create my subnet, when you will say refresh, when you will say my VPC, you can see automatically one subnet come.
There we go.
Which one?
And 251 IPs.
Which one? The subnet which we have created. Yes. Sunil.
My subnet 1.
Yes.
And you can see how many IP address we are getting.
251.
251.
As I told you, 251, 256 minus 5 means 251. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And now here, public IP address, I am saying disable. What I am saying?
Disable.
Okay.
Disable. Remember this option. Here I am saying public IP address is disable. Yes. Storage. As
Okay.
you know how much storage we will get, 30 GB security group. So this is my security group 1. RDP traffic is allowed, or if you want to allow all traffic, you can allow all traffic over here. Yes, and you can allow from anywhere. Let me say review and launch, and let me say new key pair. My new key pair is nothing but the, let me say VPC. You can give any name. Download the key pair and done. Now my task is completed. Now it's your turn. First question. Will my this EC2 instance will get the public IP? Yes or no?
No.
Everyone, I need your support now. If you started something, you have to finish in a nice way. So my question
Yes.
is that, will your EC2 instance get the public IP address? Yes or no?
No, it will not. You have to define it.
Your virtual server 1 will get the public IP? No. Okay, let me write down some information. When I will go in instance ID, this is the private IP. Yes.
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 This is the private IP address. Yes or no? What
It
about
is.
the public IP? We don't have any public IP.
No
Yes.
public IP. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you don't have a public IP, means you cannot access the internet. Yes.
No, you can't.
Yes.
You
Right.
cannot access the internet. It's very simple. Yes.
Yes. You can't.
You cannot access the internet. That's simple. Okay, still let me go over here and let me say connect and let me say RDP. Let me download the RDP and this is the username. So let me copy the username as well. Yes. So this is nothing but the username and you can see the private IP address. I think it took the private IP address from our subnet 192.168. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
57.
It took the IP address from where? It took the IP address from my
Your
subnet,
subnet.
subnet which we have defined. Yes, done.
Yes.
Remote desktop file is downloaded. I will say get password. So you can see the instance was launched from the custom AMI. So the default password has changed. A password cannot be retrieved for this instance. Password is not available if you have forgotten your password. So here it says that if you need a password, you have to wait for some time. So I will go over here and I will say connect. So RDP, and when I will say, once your EC2 is ready, you can browse your vpc.security file. Yes, this one. I'll browse. We did many times, decrypt the password, and I got the password. Yes. Sunil,
Yes.
this is the password which we got. And once you will get the password, what you will do, you will just go over here and you will say, I want to connect with my EC2 instance. So when you will say connect, now tell me, will I able to connect?
No.
No. What is missing? What is missing?
Public IP.
Public IP is missing. I told you that I am not assigning the public IP address. So how to assign the public IP address? We need a
So you
public
have
IP,
to
yes or no?
You have to buy or you have to provide your own.
Elastic IP we can add.
We can add the elastic IP. Yes. So let me go towards the elastic IP. You have any elastic IP over here?
No.
No. So I want to purchase the elastic IP. Yes.
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 So I will say allocate the elastic IP. So when I will say allocate the elastic IP, here it says that you can purchase the elastic IP from where?
Amazon.
From Amazon pool.
Pool.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will say I want to purchase the elastic IP from Amazon pool. So you will say allocate. So once you will say allocate, you got one public IP. Yes.
Okay. There
You
we
can
go.
see you got one public IP. Yes.
Yes, sir.
You can see elastic IP address automatically allocated successfully. Now my question is that can I associate this elastic IP through my EC2 instance?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Yes, you
Now
can.
this is the interview question. My question is that we have purchased one elastic IP from the Amazon. I want to assign this elastic IP to my EC2 instance. So whenever you want to assign the elastic IP, here you have two options. Either you can assign to your instance or network interface. If you associate an elastic IP address to an instance that already has an elastic IP address associated, this previously associated elastic IP address will be deassociated. So what is my task? My task over here is that my question, the interview question is that this is the same question asked to me in Amazon interview. Here my question is, if I will say okay, we have only one EC2 instance, I will say okay, I want to assign this to this EC2 instance. So my question is that when I will say associate, so do you think my EC2 instance will get this 3 IP 3.110.239.173?
But we need to associate it with private IP as well.
So of course I will, if you'll say okay, I will put private IP address. This is the same IP. Yes.
Yes.
Now it will take.
Yes.
Anyone have to change your answer? You got my question, correct? My question is simple. I have one EC2 instance. My EC2 instance don't have a public IP address. So I purchase one public IP address. Now I want to assign that public IP address to my EC2 instance. So here we purchase the one public IP address. So my question is that will my EC2 instance will get the public IP? Can I assign this public IP to my EC2 instance?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
That's why you are in my session. Yes, let me try. I got an error. You can read the error. Elastic IP address could not be associated. Why? Elastic IP address network VPC is not attached to an internet. Tell me one thing, Sunil. If you don't have an internet gateway, what you will do with elastic IP?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Connect to
Can't
it.
go to the internet.
It will not work.
It will not work, correct? If you have public
Yeah.
IP, if you have a public IP, but you don't have any path to reach to the internet, to access the internet, correct?
We need a gateway.
Correct. For it is like, you purchase the brand new clothes from the market for someone's wedding, or some function, but there is no function. So if there is no function, when you will wear the clothes, you cannot. Yes.
Difficult.
So here you have a public IP, but where to use the public IP? As we discussed that you can use the public IP to access the internet. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So if I want to access the internet, I need internet gateway. Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
So what is my task now? Now my task is to create the internet gateway. Yes.
Okay.
So to create the internet gateway is very simple. Just click on internet gateway. Let me say my internet gateway, and let me say create the internet gateway. Now, once your internet gateway is created, here it says that you have to attach to a VPC. So with which VPC I want to attach? My VPC, of course. Yes.
Yes.
And attach. Done. Done. Now again go to Elastic IP. Again go to Elastic IP. Allocate the Elastic IP, and here, as we said, that if you want to let me see, we have an Elastic IP or not. This one we have Elastic IP. Yes. So I will say associate the Elastic IP, and with whom I want to associate?
Instance.
My running EC2 instance. Yes.
EC2, yeah.
Let me say associate. You can see I successfully associated.
Successfully.
Now my question is that when I will say refresh, when I will say refresh, and when I will go over here, you can see my EC2 instance got the public IP.
Yes.
Which was missing over here. Yes.
Okay.
Now you people tell me, can I access my EC2 instance?
No.
Think and answer. My question is simple. Can I access this EC2 instance?
Yes. No.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Okay, let me
The
try.
routing is complete.
Let me try. Yes.
No, it's not work.
It will not work. Why?
We need to do routing.
What about the routing, my dear? Have you checked the routing table? Yes.
We need to find a path to
this is the my routing table. Yes. This is my VPC routing table. Yes. Okay, let me check the routing table if there is a route or not. So how many routes we have? Local. Yes. What about the default route? If you want to access the internet, that means you need which route?
Default route.
Towards where?
Internet gateway.
Internet gateway, and done. That means I have added the default route in my routing table to access the internet gateway. Correct? So let me explain you the entire process. Now listen. Listen to me carefully. Let me say, this is my which region? Mumbai region. In Mumbai region, we are working on one VPC. In one VPC, we have created one EC2 instance. Yes. We have created one EC2 instance. Yes. Now listen. So we are in which region? Mumbai. Inside Mumbai region, we have created our O1 VPC. My VPC using 192.168.10 dot or whatever dot 0/24. Inside this VPC, we have created one subnet. My subnet have a same network 192.168.10.0, whatever the subnet we have used. Now in this subnet, what we have created this EC2 instance. Yes. So this EC2 instance will take the private IP address from here. So it took one IP address 192.168.10 dot whatever your 57 or what. Then when I'm trying to access, but this EC2 instance don't have a elastic IP. So if you remember, we purchased one elastic IP 3.x.y.z. Now this EC2 instance have a private IP, this EC2 instance have a public IP, and we have created one VPC, one subnet. So when you have created one VPC, one routing table is automatically created. And in this routing table, you have local root 192.168.10.0/24. So when I'm trying to access this EC2 instance, I'm not able to access. Why? Because one thing is missing. Which thing is missing? Internet gateway who can allow me to access the internet. So we have created one internet gateway. First is this one, second one is this one, third one is this one, fourth one is this one. And then we have associated this internet gateway with my routing table, fifth. Yes, routing table with this one. So after associating the internet gateway with my routing table, that means now if I want to access this EC2 instance from my laptop, my traffic will go through where? Internet. It will go towards the internet through internet gateway, through routing table, and that's it. This is nothing but what? Simple routing. If you are in IT field, in any field, developer, network security, cloud, you have to learn this basic routing. This is part of your CCN. Let me go over here. And now, can I access to my EC2 instance now? Let me say access. Let me say connect. Can you see it is asking me to enter what? Username. My username is this one, and password. My password is this one, and done. Sunil.
Yes.
I'm able to access. Yes. Now,
Right,
which
yes.
IP address my EC2 instance have right now? Public IP. I'm talking about the public IP. You can see the public IP on top of over here.
Elastic IP. Yeah.
Elastic IP. Elastic IP means static public IP address. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You can see I'm able to access my EC2 instance right now. Now, leave it. What will happen if I restart my EC2 instance? If I will go over here in my instance and let me say for a while, let me say shut down the EC2 instance, stop the EC2 instance. I'm stopping the EC2 instance. Yes.
Yes.
I'm stopping. Now before stopping, this was my public IP. Yes.
Right.
So my question is that when I will restart my EC2, let's say you're done with your work by today and now you shut down the EC2 instance, you will restart the EC2 instance by tomorrow. Yes. At 10 o'clock in the morning. So my question is that when I will start my EC2 instance tomorrow, will it get the same public IP or different?
I guess it will take the same because we have attached one elastic IP with it, which is fixed, but it will change the private IP.
Okay.
Yeah, if you everything will remain the same.
Okay, so one person says that public IP change, one person
No, it will not the same. It will change because we get this IP from Amazon pool. We doesn't have any static IP.
Can we
Yeah.
check the elastic IP block, like service? Like what is the IP is currently present there?
Sorry, come again.
Elastic IP we created, right? We requested.
Yes, of course, of
Yeah.
course. This is
Can we
this one,
check
this
that?
one. This is available
Yes.
over here.
Yes. So I think it will remain same because it is not, as long as this will not change. So the public IP will remain same.
Okay, and you are saying private IP will change?
No, me, I'm saying everything will remain the same.
Okay, so let me start. I'm starting again. Can you see? Yes, started, successfully started. So I have note down the public and private IP. You can see one is 57, one is 173. Yes. Okay, let me see.
Yes.
Yes, it's working. Once it will successfully start, you will get everything over here. Don't worry. Correct. Once it will start, you will get the IP address and all the details over here. Instance data is pending. You can compare if you wish to compare. You can compare.
Yeah. As of now, everything is same. Like both IPs are same.
Change. It will change.
Okay.
It will change. Okay, let me.
Yeah, it will change.
No, it will remain the same.
Yeah, it will remain same.
आप जितनी बार बोलोगे उतनी बार मैं रिफ्रेश करूंगा, आप टेंशन मत लो. Correct, it is now, it is up and running. We will access and then we will terminate it. Yes, I want to check now my IP is same or not. Yes,
It is same.
you know, the people who are not from networking field, they are thinking what is going on. So whatever is going on, that is perfect. You have to learn this one anyhow. Correct. आप ये मत सोचो कि you will, you know, you will escape it. No, you cannot escape from this one. You have to learn. You have to learn means you have to learn. And this is very basic, guys. If you are, you know, engineering student also, you know about this one. So let me try to connect. Let me say RDP client and let me say download the desktop file and let me say connect. You know, just wait for some time. Let me see whether it is up or not. So it is asking the password. Yes, Sunil. So password and this one, and let me enter the password and done.
We are able to connect. Same public IP.
I'm able to connect.
There we
Yes,
go.
you are connected. Yes or no?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, it's connect,
Yes.
but it should be changed because we get this IP from the pool. Why it is not changed? Is this a static IP?
Now tell me, what is your question?
Is this a static IP? Because we are not using any static IP here.
First,
We get
first talk about public or private. Which IP you are talking about?
for public.
Public.
Yeah.
This one, yes.
That one. That's
This
it.
one
That's
I have.
it.
This one I have purchased.
Okay, then it's not changed. Then
Now
it will be the same.
purchased from where? From Amazon pool. Yes.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can purchase the same from ISP. You can
Right.
purchase the same from IANA. Purchase means purchase. Yes. Like if you purchase the cloth from the market, that is your cloth. Yes. Done. So
It will be the same. Then
it will not change.
right. It will not change.
What about this one?
So
Even,
yeah,
even that one will not change
it will
because
not
it's private.
change. Yeah,
No,
it
tell me
will not
one thing.
change.
This is my subnet. This is my subnet. You are using 172, the subnet which is by default there in Amazon. No. You are using the subnet which is by default there in Amazon. No, why we are not using the default subnet? Can you see we are using this subnet 172, 172, 172? No, that's why I have created my subnet. Yes. So of course my subnet will be my subnet. It will not change because in this subnet I have only one device and it took the 57 IP address. So that this IP address will not be changed.
Right, but that could be in the same subnet. It could take like another IP as well, right? But I think I am just recalling, if we terminate, then only it will change the private IP. If we just stop and start, then I think it will keep the same IP,
What
same
do you
private
mean by
IP.
terminate?
So yeah, if we terminate the instance and recreate it again,
Of course that will be
then
the
it
new
will,
instance, my dear.
yes.
Yes,
But
if you
yeah,
want to, yeah, if you want to check now, let me show you now. If I will go over here, I will say 2016 and select and configure instance detail and let me choose my VPC. Of course, you can see this is the same. Next, text, done, review, launch, same and launch. Now it will take another IP from your subnet. Yes or no?
right.
Of course, it is very simple. It took the IP, you can see. Yes, you can see, but in the same
From
subnet.
subnet.
Yes,
Yes.
correct. So, how was the session? Total IP routing, routing table, VPC, and
Yes.
everything. Yes,
It was lovely.
Yeah.
correct. But trust me, this is very, very important. Let me tell you one thing: what people are doing nowadays. People nowadays, what they are doing, frankly, what they are doing now from my side, you will get this kind of stuff only. Frankly speaking, you will get this kind of stuff from my side. I started posting everywhere. I started posting on my LinkedIn account, on my Facebook account, on my website account, and everywhere I have started, and I'm getting a lot of response from the people as well. For an example, day before yesterday, I posted this post on my profile. You can see 3,500 people have seen this profile so far. 72 people from TCS, 419 people from network engineer, those who are designated in this one, 238 people view the post from Pune or Pimpri and Chikwada area. You can see by company wise, Cisco people seen 46, TCS 50 and everything, software developer even 172, and this consultant, this whole things you will get, correct? So what is the purpose of this one? The purpose of this one is that I don't want to be a famous or like that. I'm already famous. So here what I'm saying here, I'm saying that what people are doing, people are making the mistakes. What people are doing, for an example, let's say you want to do the AWS. So if you want to do the AWS, what you will do, you will search on the internet, you will get, you know, some company name, you will call him, that person will say, okay, you want to learn the AWS, okay, then you will ask, there is any prerequisite? That girl will say, no, nothing is prerequisite, you don't want anything. Now when you will learn about the VPC, about the subnet, about the internet gateway, then you will realize, oh, something like networking or basic of networking is required. Yes, very simple. And one more thing, this thing is required in your EC2 only. This thing is required in your EC2 only, but this EC2 we will use in RDS. This EC2, you can use this EC2 in each and every other, with each and every other Amazon services. So definitely you are using the same services everywhere. So you have to know that which IP address I want to assign, or you, when you will start working with any company, your manager will say, create one virtual server with the customized VPC and subnet. What you will do? If your manager will say, Sunil, create one virtual server with customized VPC, with customized routing table, with customized subnet, with customized IP address. So at that time, you will think that what is subnetting? No. For an example, at that time, if I'm saying 10.0.0.0/20, quickly you have to connect the dots, that if it is /29, what will be the subnet mask? 248. If we'll say /28, 240. If you will say /25, correct? 255, 128. So this thing is required, and don't worry, this thing is required everywhere nowadays, correct? So what I'm thinking to tomorrow we will learn about the snapshot, maybe, or VPC pairing we will do last. Snapshot tomorrow we will done, and after snapshot we will do one more service, that is nothing but the route 53, and then we will start with the S3. So in this way we will start with this service as well. Which one? Simple storage service. Got it? Can I close the session now?
Yes.
Yes. And before closing the session, I hope you people are watching the all the recorded session which we have uploaded, correct? So I request everyone to please watch the recorded session. That session are very, very important, and also you have to perform the lab as well. Got it? Because I'm updating and uploading everything on the drive. So please check the drive, and if you'll perform the lab at the same time, it will be more useful for you to remember and to be an expert. Can I close session now?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.